Well, Beth, I'm excited to hear your conversation as you wrapped our third and final segment today on leading a team, encouraging productivity, and leading with empathy. So
Yes,
fire
absolutely.
away.
Yeah. I was thinking a little bit about this and I was reminded of a time. I live in a community with a very large university. And a few years ago, we've changed over some leadership. And what I felt was this energy of a little bit of concern, just as you've probably been in some sort of a setting where leadership has changed and you're not quite sure what's happening. And you watch down the ranks, whether it's in the military or in football or anywhere in the world, and you watch how people respond to it differently. And I was asked to come in and speak to a group of administrative support staff, people that support all of the university, and it was about 450 people in this room, right? And I was asked to bring in energy, empower, encouragement, right? So thinking all about this for them and how can I, what can I do to kind of stir some good energy when I know there's a lot of people feeling like there's fresh priorities, there's new systems. Talk of restructuring. I think a lot of people felt really uncertain. Workloads were heavy. People were feeling like they needed to overperform to prove themselves in the leadership. And when I walked through this in my mind, even that morning, I was still kind of struggling with, what can I say? How can I encourage these people? And as I was getting ready, I thought of an image. And the image was sort of these people that are literally holding up the university, and they're doing so like kind of as if it's this ginormous weight. Like imagine a huge rock and you're underneath it and you're holding it up and you're saying, I don't know if I can do this, right? And I imagine these people kind of feeling this kind of pressure. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be amazing if I can go from this of fear and anxiety and uncertainty and almost ready to fall over to, ah, I want to present this to you. I want to present this university. I get to show you the beauty and the goodness, and I get to be a part of that. So it goes from underneath to more of this feeling of I want to show you what it is. And so I started to think about that and I told them that story. And what I saw start to unravel was people's feelings of feeling seen and heard, and conversations were happening. I then put it within the in the groups at the tables, and they kind of talked about things, and they were hearing each other and feeling each other. But instead of a woe is me, this isn't working out, this is, a tragedy for how things are going, it was more of a, wow, I can take some responsibility in this. I get to do this. I get to support this. In fact, I get to help lead. I get to be on the forefront of how this is going to look for me as an individual, for us as a unit, and us as a university. So all of a sudden it was flip flop, right? Like instead of feeling that pressure, we've got people, high five and saying, let's go, let's do this. And that little thought reminded me of leadership. Right? How do we see people where they really are? How do we get to the truth? Freddie, you were talking, we talked about clarity is kind. I think truth is kind. I think transparency is kind. I think when we allow people to share their truth, even if it's scary, even if it's saying, I'm uneasy, I'm worried about this. This is something I'm working through. When we allow people to do that, obviously they feel seen, they feel heard, and then they feel like they can trust. And so, how do we do that? So, I just kind of want to walk you through a couple things like this. One thing that I want to address right off the bat is that yes, I've seen empathy be a leadership tool that makes a difference. And yet, I want you to hear me that this does not mean that you are not or that you're compromising productivity. Sometimes people think, if I'm kind or I'm gentle or I don't allow people to kind of be who they are and I get to know them, they're going to take advantage of me or they're not going to get the work done. And I want you to know that I do think it has been proven that it enhances productivity when people feel that they're heard, they're supported, they're willing to come forward and give their best effort. So it isn't about letting go of expectations or even lowering standards. It's more about aligning actions with team needs and just listening to understand. Because I feel when you learn more, knowledge is power. When you understand more about where your team is coming from, your colleagues are coming from, your leaders are coming from, you're able to kind of create the sense of community. And as Freddie said, we're all in the, or we talked about being in a canoe. We know where we're going. We're willing to do that. So that is empathetic leadership, when you're willing to do that. But it is this balance, right? It's understanding people's challenges, but also maintaining high expectations. How do we do that? Well, we set them forward. We let people know. We have routines like JB was talking about. We're clear, as Freddie talked about. When we set these clear expectations and we follow up with compassion, we empower our teams to thrive in those units. And I think that that is so important. Also, as leaders, I think it's important that we create this connectedness and compassion, because I do think that also results in action. And I've seen this firsthand. I think that what's this look like? It's fostering a sense of belonging, having a group know they're a part of a group. What does that look like? It's, whether it's quick shout outs or celebrating small wins, or, encouraging team members to get to know each other somehow, whether it's team building or whatever that looks like. It's fostering a sense of we are a part of this community and we are something special. So that's one way. Another one, Freddie touched on this, is understanding individual motivations. It goes a long way when we get to know somebody as an individual. When we ask the question, if we're a leader and we ask the question of people, what matters most to you in your role? All of a sudden, we start to see what makes them tick. We start to see, this is interesting. I remember once I was asked, go ahead and get a whiteboard out and dream. Go ahead and dream. What do you want to do? Let's go there. Let's do that. And I'm like, yes, let's go. This is exciting, right? Because all of a sudden I was able to tailor my skill, my energy, my passion to be a part of a team that I was excited to be a part of. And I'm personally invested in that all of a sudden, because I was asked, what do you want to do? What are you most excited about? So I think that's really important, is understanding individual motivations. Another one is modeling self-compassion. I think that often we go through the world judging ourselves and watching other people judge themselves. So how can we turn this on their head? How can we encourage people to be self-compassionate towards themselves in the personal world and their professional world? I think a great way is to model it. So when we show that we can manage stress with grace, and we can, like JB said, be resilient and get back in there and jump back in when we need to, bounce back. We show others that, you know what, you might take a hit, but that's okay. You can come back. We want you to come back, and we're going to help you. We're going to support you. And when you foster that team and we show that self-compassion for ourselves, and we encourage others to do that same thing, it creates a space where sometimes we're knocked down, sometimes we're brought up, sometimes we're the one, extending a hand, and sometimes we're the one that needs to get back in that arena. So when we create that kind of feel, I think that goes a long way when it comes to empathy in the workplace. The last thing that I think is really important as leaders is, okay, how do we encourage productivity with purpose? So we talked about getting to know your people, and we've talked about being, productive, but how do we get into that purpose that we really want it to be? And I think this is just simply aligning your team goals with their individual strengths and passions. I talked about that a second ago, but how do we continually tap in? If somebody's doing a really great job with something, we encourage them. We say, gosh, you're really shining in that area. I'd love for you to take that to the next level. How do you see that happening? Or, you're seeing somebody's kind of a little, okay, I've done what I've done here. How can I challenge you? What do you want? What do you want more of? One of my favorite questions I ask clients, we can ask within leadership, within organizations, what do you want more of? When you get their wheels turning on that, they're going to immediately start to produce more and do more for you, using these micro goals, creating accountability structures, right? This is where empathetic follow-up can come in. People want to be supportive in achieving their goals, but they don't want to be micromanaged. So how can you check in, offer help, and guide them without, stepping in so much that they don't feel like they're really doing the job that they know that they can do, right? So all of these are things that I think are important when we're thinking of empathy. So I'm going to give you a quick tool. All right. When it comes to leadership, it's just 3 C's. The 3C framework, right? Connection, So, regularly checking in with your team on both personal and professional levels, compassion, actively listening and understanding, and also modeling self compassion. So, that's part of your culture. And the last one is clarity. Communicate your goals, your expectations, the why behind tasks, and it's a two-way street. I once heard that it's not a one-on-one, it's a one-to-one, meaning I want to learn as much from you as you're going to learn from me, and vice versa. Everyone has something to learn when you have those meetings of connection like that. I love that. So I'm going to encourage you to use those three C's: connection, compassion, and clarity. And your challenge, I think a challenge this week is to really think about who's one person that I could meet one to one with and really get to know, understanding their goals, their needs, and what barriers, what challenges they may have, and leave the conversation with both of you understanding how you might be able to support them and how they might be able to support you. And so that next time you meet, you're same, you're in alignment and you're part of that team. That's where empathy really truly becomes a leadership tool. So JB Freddy, what you got? Tell me about your experience with that.
Beth, Tony Robbins has nothing on you. That's just all I want to say. Okay. Because you got this going. Well done. Well done. Really, really good points.
I love it. It's that one-to-one instead of one-on-one, having that mentality of being intentionally grounded, and I want to connect with you. I want to lead you, but I can only lead someone that wants to have connection. That's leadership is connection. That's a bond. That's
Mhm,
a
mhm,
person choosing to receive leadership, to receive information, to receive guidance. I've got to trust that I can share my ideas with you, right?
mhm,
Share that last
mhm.
10%. And so I absolutely love, love, love those points, Beth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Man, where did the time go? Well, Beth
I
and
know
JB,
it. I know it.
you guys have been a blessing to me. And for those of you listening, again, we simply wanted to put something in place to give you some practical tools to help you personally and professionally that you can apply at work, that you can be able to build, lead, and support your teams, your organizations more effectively. Many of you are already doing this. These are just hopefully some cool reminders to sharpen that axe, to
Mhm.
sharpen those tools so you can accomplish the goals that you've set out for yourself and for your organization. And so, with that, until next time, we will see you again soon. Bye,
Thank you
everyone.
all.